bird. Yeah, welcome to the yard, it's that Birdland sound. Pigtown Sports, yeah, we holding it down. Bleeding orange, dripping purple, that's the code we claim. Crab cake, hustle, Old Bay in the veins. From Camden Yards to the air, we all the same. That beat more fire running deep in our veins. From the block to the booth, yeah, we bringing that flame. Pigtown Sports, steady carving the game. Talking stats and facts, we don't cap, we react. Breaking plays, dropping gems, keep it all exact. Ravens on the rise, O's back in their zone. We the next up, Baltimore zone. Yeah, microphone heat when we speak that truth. It's Pigtown Sports, yeah, we speak for the youth. Yeah.
Grab a crab cake plate, pour that natty bowl. When the mics turn on, man, you already know we the best up and coming Orioles podcast today. Spitting stats and facts with that Obey flame. From the block to the booth, we don't play no games. Pigtown Sports, remember the name. Woo!
What's going on, everybody? We got ourselves some things to talk about again here in Birdland. First off, I want to wish you guys. I hope you all had a great Christmas and whatnot. Spend some time with your family and whatnot. And you kind of just got to decompress and relax a little bit. But let's dive right into this one a little bit here. The Orioles bring in Zack Eflin, right? We already know Zack Eflin pretty well. It's the little things that help you win. And sometimes it takes 28, 30 guys to help you win a playoff series, a championship, stuff like that. And to get deeper than what you were previously is a big deal. And Zack Eflin, we're going to go into everything on him here. The positives, the negatives, you kind of name it. We're going to dive into Zack Eflin here a little bit. But overall, I love the signing, right? Who better can you think of as a 4 or a 5 right now coming off an injury than Zack Eflin, if he's healthy? We heard from him today that he was healthy. He was excited to pitch. He's got his first bullpen on January 6th. So there's a lot to like and hear about Zack Eflin. We know how good he was when he got here. We know how bad he was last year. But obviously there's some things that kind of went into that a little bit here. But we know it. Zack Eflin is back here on a 1-year, $10 million deal. Now, this is a 2-year option, is a mutual option, which you don't really see too often in the major leagues, but I'm glad they did it. It does run it up to $25 million next year, which I think is fair. Zach comes out and he is healthy and he pitches like he did at the end of 2024. Like, you've got yourself a good one. And at $25 million, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more than a qualifying offer, but I mean, let's be honest here. Like, that's a good deal for both sides. So I like it. But let's dive into what hurt Zack Eflin a little bit. So he had a lumbar microdissectomy. And basically a dissectomy goes in, as you can see here, top of the vertebrae is basically a herniated disc, right? It's compressing against a nerve in the spinal cord. So Zach said for about 10 years, he's had leg pain, numbness, and weakness in his lower body at times. And at times we saw an absolutely dominant Zack Eflin. Last year, he said it was the worst pain he's ever been in. And we kind of saw it in the numbers. I went back and I looked through a lot of video, excuse me, and I didn't see any kind of mechanical changes. The bend was still the same. The leg kick was still the same. All of it looked the same. But they basically go in and cut a little bit out of this vertebrae. As you can see in the bottom number 3 picture here, they cut a little bit of that out, so it's not really pressing on that nerve anymore. And it's a 4 to 8 month recovery. It depends on the person. Now, Zach, from what he said today, I guess about 4 to 5 months, and he was completely good. He's been thrown a little bit. Like I said, first bullpen is scheduled for January 6th. So hopefully we get a good Zack Eflin back. And this kind of issue goes away, not only for his personal health, but for the Orioles' benefit too. But let's take a look here. So this is how the injury affected him a little bit. Sinkers over 93 mile an hour. Sinker is his favorite pitch. It's one of his best pitches. 2023, 198 of them over 93. 2024, 80. And then this past year, 24. Sorry. Dog gonna sit there and squeak that for an hour. But let's look at his chase rate, or his usage as well of this sinker. 32% in 23, 29% in 24, and just 18% just last year. So could this, he says today that, the back injury did affect how he was pitching. It did affect his mechanics a little bit. And I kind of wanted to talk about his mechanics a little bit because, I'm trying to find it here. So his fastball arm angle last year, or 2023, his fastball arm angle was about a 27 degree. 24, when he was really good, It was 33. Last year, he had to drop that down to 22 degrees. Now, he said he changed his mechanics. I mean, when you look at that, I mean, that's a significant decrease. That's 11 degrees. So, and it wasn't just the fastball. The curveball in 23 was 34 degrees. In 24, it was 29 degrees. And then last year was 26. So, and then you can kind of see it like in the averages too. The fastball in 23, he gave up a 245 average. And then 24 last year, he gave up just a 104 average against that fastball. And then last year, a 355. So as the arm came down, the average skyrocketed. So hopefully we can get him a little bit better this year. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot to like about it. It kind of shows you a little bit here more of the arm angles, and you can kind of get a good mix of what his pitches were. So in 23, he threw the sinker 32% of the time. He threw it pretty hard. Threw the curveball a good bit, and it's kind of funny that he didn't really throw the changeup all that much and the sweeper either. But when you go into 24, right, the sinker usage cuts down a little bit, the cutter usage goes up a good bit, and the curveball usage goes up. And he still wasn't throwing a changeup a whole lot. But then when you go into 2025, right, changeup jumps up at 10%. He throws it 16% of the time now. Cutter at 22, the cutter becomes his favorite pitch in 25. Sinker goes down to 18%. So you're looking at a guy who used to throw that sinker 30% of the time, almost 35% of the time, and he goes down to 18%. And then he couldn't throw it more than 93 miles an hour. Like, you could probably tell that back was really bothering him. And it seemed like he tried to gut it out. And you can see in 25, he tried to mix in everything. Sweepers, four seams, everything was above that 5-6% range there. Zach did his best to try and gut through this. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. But I think we remember how good Zack Eflin can be. And you get a healthy Zack Eflin, you might see some of these numbers again. So in 23 and 24 combined, these are against teams that made the playoffs in 23 and 24. He made 20 starts, 122 innings, 42 earned runs, so a 3.10 ERA. That's pretty good. 20 walks to 105 Ks to a whip below 1. You know what you're getting out of Zack Eflin. Right now, he's coming into this team as a 4 or a 5. Pick one. You know the capabilities. Zack Eflin was supposed to be the ace last year. So you know the talent's there. If you get him a little bit better, think about this for a minute here. Like, you know what you have out of Trevor Rogers. You hope that he replicates. But if Trevor Rogers pitches to a 3.3, a 3.5, that's pretty freaking good, right? Kyle Bradish, I think, is going to pitch below a 3, maybe even below a 2.7. Kyle Bradish, I think, is one of the best pitchers in the American League. So that right there, your 1-2 punch, pretty good. Tampa Bay even admitted themselves that they expected a giant jump this year for Shane Baz. I think Baltimore expects the same thing. If Shane Baz pitches to a 3.5, a 3.6, maybe even a 3.7, that's pretty dang good from your top three. All of a sudden, Zack Eflin kind of screws around a little bit. What if he throws to a 3.7, 3.8? You've got 4 guys pitching to a 3.7 or 3.8 below. That's pretty freaking good. And then you got Dean Kramer. You know what you're going to get at Dean. You're going to get Dean. Dean's going to sit between a 3.9 and a 4.2. And then as a number 5, that's extremely good in the major leagues. Extremely good. Because the thing with Dean beats playoff teams. Yeah, he loses focus against teams that he probably should just mop the floor with. That happens. Maybe this new coaching staff can kind of correct that a little bit. His April numbers have always been really bad. But just think about that for a second. How good this rotation could be. Now, I understand there's a lot of coulds, there's a lot of what ifs. That's baseball. That's any sport. Look at the Ravens. They were supposed to be a good team, and a lot of what ifs went the opposite way, and they're not very good, right? They're going to try and squeak into the playoffs. That's just sports. So if these what ifs this year go towards the Orioles' way instead of, complete opposite of what we saw last year with all the injuries and crap, you're looking at a damn good rotation. Damn good rotation. And this current rotation here, so this is what they've done since 2024. And I'm not saying this is the greatest in the world, but it's not bad, right? A 4.04 ERA against playoff teams, right? 214 earned in 476 innings, only 68 home runs, 163 walks to a 443 Ks. That's 2.72 K to walk ratio with a 1.28 whip. The whip you would like to see a little bit better. Now, Kramer and Baz, they both walk some guys. Eflin and Trevor typically don't, and Bradish is a freaking bulldog, man. If this all gets better, even if it pitches to what it is, right? If your offense is what it's supposed to be, this is a playoff team right now. Maybe more than that. Right now. Now, I think they still have some additions that needs to be completed into the bullpen and whatnot. And I still think that there probably is going to be some type of starting pitching acquisition. We'll get into that in here in a minute. But one thing I wanted to touch on, pitches thrown over 96 miles an hour. There was 39,000 pitches this year from starting pitchers that were thrown over 96 miles an hour. The Orioles had just 87. It was dead last in baseball. That's bad. Now, granted, we put a lot of stock into Grayson Rodriguez kind of picking that up, and Grayson has been that bulldog that throws high 90s that we thought we were getting. But 87 pitches, and most of them came from Kyle Bradish. Kyle Bradish threw it 49 times. From a guy that really didn't even pitch much last year, right? 49 times. Charlie Morton did it 25 times. Trevor Rogers did it 4 times. Rico Garcia did it 6 times. I don't count him because that was just a spot start, but, hey, good. Thanks for helping out. And then Brandon Young did it 3 times. Now, horrible. I don't think there's any way to sugarcoat that whatsoever. But if you guys are new here, hey, if you're ever on Twitter, hop on over to YouTube, drop a follow, drop a like if you guys are on the YouTube stream, and sub if you're new here, man. We try to drop this kind of content and this kind of production as often as we can. But what does Shane Baz bring? Right? Shane Baz did this 901 times. 901 times. It's pretty good. If he was on the team last year, right? So we had 988 total pitches thrown over 96. And we still would have been ranked 20th. Right? For context, the Marlins threw about almost 3,000 pitches from their starters over 96 miles an hour. And we threw 87. So that's an area I think that the Orioles could maybe get a little bit better in. Is there any free agents that currently could do that for him? Just Amaya. That's it. Dude sits at 97, right? Touches 101, 102. Framber may touch it once in a blue moon. Ranger does not. Zach Eflin does not. Chris Bassett does not. So if they want to improve there, Amaya is your guy. If not, hey, get a little funky. Go get Tariq Skubal. Go get a little funky and go get Hunter Green. These guys are available, right? It's been quiet in the market right now. It's been quiet in the market. And to kind of touch on that, and what I think is going to go happen here. Well, I didn't mean to do that. What I think is going to happen here with the starting pitching. So from what I've been told, Boris is being Boris. And he wants 7 years for his guys. 7. Everybody wants Dylan Cease contract. It ruined the market. Is Framber and Ranger worth 7? I don't think so. And if another team was willing to go 7, I think the Orioles would probably do it. Right now, they aren't. Right, so they're not going to price themselves out of top line pitching just because that's what they want. Boris being Boris, he's going to dig his feet in, right? And he's going to say, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait until the first pitching injury happens in spring training. And I'm going to try and see who gets desperate. That sucks. It sucks. There's an argument to be made at times when it's like, give them that extra year, give them what they want kind of thing. There's times where it's not. And you got Ranger Suarez, who is good. He's got elite off speed. The velo is dropping, right? What if it continues to drop over 7 years and all of a sudden the guy's throwing like 88, 87, right? That's a problem. Framber Valdez, right? Probably worth it. He's damn good. Ranger's actually better against better teams, but Framber's still damn good. Clubhouse issues, apparently, right? That's been the MO going around baseball. What happens if year 2, all of a sudden you got an issue? We got 5 more years of that. Like, that's a problem. The Orioles want these guys at a aggressive price. I'm not going to say they're trying to be cheap. They want to be aggressive, but they don't want to just sit there and do what they did with Chris Davis and just bid against themselves. That's just not smart. We're a mid-market team. If we were the Yankees, yeah, you could just, whatever, 7 years, who cares? Who cares? We get 4 out of you, cool. We can't do that. Right now, Amaya is also looking for 7 years and around $30 million a year. Same exact as Ranger and Framber. Those aren't, I don't want to say it's not doable. Amaya is 27 years old and throws 99. Like, if anybody's going to get 7 years, it's going to be Amaya. But right now, as we've heard from some reports today, he has 0 offers, 0 competitive offers, which means that people are probably trying to be realistic about their offers and offer him probably 16, 17, maybe 18, 19 a year, not 30. So again, there's a time and a place where you want to go above and beyond and get the guy you really want, but there's also a time and a place where you got to realize that it ain't just worth it, right? The Orioles have a surplus of talent in the minor leagues and even on the major league roster that they could trade and acquire starting pitching. So if they miss out on Framber or Ranger, I still think it's okay. But, and I've said this a couple times, and people kind of scoff at me a little bit. What if they turn their attentions to a Kyle Tucker or a Bo Bichette or Alex Bregman or Cody Bellinger? What if they turn that attention to the bat? And why I say that is the bats are what struggled. And I pulled it up, and I want to pull it up again, just so I read it off correctly, about when the Orioles would score 5 or more runs. Let me try and find it here. Yeah, so 23 and 24 combined. When the Orioles scored 5 or more runs, they did it in 161 games. That's a season's worth of games that they scored more than 5 runs. It was the 5th most. They had an .870 winning percentage. Second best in baseball. Really good. In 2025, they scored 5 or more runs just 59 times. And their .746% winning percentage was just 24th. Now, there's an argument to be made there. Well, if the pitching gave up less, you would have been a problem. But the counter argument to that is in 23 and 24, they were scoring 7, 8, 9, 10 runs a game sometimes. More often than not. No, I shouldn't say that. But a good amount of times. It didn't happen very much in 2025. Now, I think my counter post to that was, so the O's gave up 5 runs while scoring 5 runs and 58 times in 23 and 24 with a league best .638 winning percentage. So at times they gave up more than 5 runs too and still won the game. In 2025, they did that 25 times and they had a .400 winning percentage, which is ranked 23rd in baseball. So the offense I don't want to blame the offense totally, obviously, because pitching has to perform. But at times, the offense could have did a little bit more. How many times did we watch the offense last year score 4 or 5 runs early, second, third inning, and then not score again the rest of the game? And we lose 5-4 or 6-4 or something like that, when they could have kept the pressure on all game long. Hell, that one game, they put up, 8 or 9, 10 runs against Tampa and lost? They put it up, the first, second, third inning and lost that one? One more run would have won that game. Couple more hits here and there. So the offense was just to blame as much as the pitching last year. So what if they turned to one of these prolific bats? I mean, just think about it for a second. And I know it sounds crazy. They don't need it. Trust me, I know it. They don't need it. But what if? What if their money was better spent on a bat? What if Kyle Tucker landed you 5 more wins when Framber might only win you 2? Like 2 extra compared to what you would expect. Right? That's 3 more wins. That's the difference between winning a division and not sometimes. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Orioles are out on starting pitching, because obviously they want these guys. But I'm here to tell you that they might be in on some bats. Who? I don't know. I'm not going to go that far. I don't know. But it's possible. It's possible. They might feel like their money is more valued on the hitting side right now than it is on the pitching because, like I said, the surplus of talent. You bring in another guy. We'll say you bring in Kyle Tucker or even Bellinger or even Harrison Bader's pretty good. Well, now there's 1 or 2 more position players that you get to deal with from the major league roster. Not to mention they already have a very good amount of prospects available. So just don't get upset if you hear some rumors about some hitting. Again, the Orioles, they are in on pitching. They just want prices to be correct. And I think that's fair. But let's keep it moving here. Bullpen, right? And I want to address the bullpen just as much as everybody else. Bullpen ERA last year, the whole bullpen, horrible. There were some bright spots. Now, granted, they traded some guys at the deadline. Felix got hurt again. So you kind of expected to see some of these numbers. What shocked me was the 630 strikeouts. Because Felix wasn't striking out a whole lot of guys, but they finished 8th, which I thought was pretty good. And there's some guys that really, really shocked me last year. Cade Stroud being one of them. I thought Cade threw the ball very well. I'm very excited to see what he can do this year. They brought in Ryan Helsley, who's going to add to the strikeouts. He's going to add to the velo. They brought in Andrew Kittredge back, who's a quality veteran in this league. He does very well. These numbers are going to go up. We hope. We hope they go up, right? There's still more to be done. And just like the starting rotation, the bullpen wasn't the best at throwing the ball very hard. I had it written down here somewhere. I must have forgot it, but the bullpen, I think, throwing the ball over 97 miles an hour, I want to say was like 17th. It wasn't that much. But you add Helsley. Helsley obviously throws over 100. He did that, I want to say, Helsley threw over 97 overall 800 times last year. So that's going to help your bullpen a little bit. But there's a guy that I like, and no one's talking about him because he got hurt this year. He had a shoulder impingement, and he had a torn meniscus. So he missed the postseason. He was up and down a lot this year with the impingement. Apparently, he was falsely diagnosed beginning of the year with what was going on in the shoulder. So he missed a lot of time this year. But Michael Kopech, and a lot of guys remember him from the White Sox. Kopech sucked as a starter. Sucked. But I made a video of him a couple years ago about how he actually compares to Mason Miller if you put him in the bullpen. Based on like how the slider moved, based on how the fastball moved, the velocity, how often he threw it. But when I was looking through it, I seen that Chicago threw the fastball like over 68% of the time. Where Mason Miller, his best pitch that he threw the most was the slider. The fastball was his set-me-up pitch. The slider was his out pitch. Chicago was just like, almost 70% of the time, let's go ahead and throw a fastball, right? So Kopech here threw 156 pitches in limited action last year, over 100 miles an hour. That was 13th most, and he didn't have that many. As you can tell, I had to use 2024 percentile rankings because he didn't even qualify, and he still threw 156 pitches over 100. So when he touches 100, he has the highest whiff rate in baseball at 44.8%, and he had the highest K rate at 60.4. That's good. That's good. Imagine if you got Yunier Cano to figure it out, right? Get that sinker back to what it was. Get that changeup kind of biting back down inside, to the lefties a little bit. What if? What if you went Cano in the 6th, Kittredge in the 7th, Michael Kopech in the 8th, and then Ryan Helsley in the 9th? All right, so then you have Kopech if Helsley is tired. Then you could use, if you acquired Jojo Romero or something like that, you had your high leverage lefty and whatnot. You still have Kopech coming off an injury. I think you could get Kopech for, I don't know, around $7-8 million, probably less. Evan Phillips is still out there if you wanted to maybe sign him and let him come back mid-season. And I don't think they would sign him right now, but come June, July, if Evan Phillips is still sitting around, that's another bullpen addition. So there's a lot of things with the bullpen that I think they can get better with. Strikeouts were obviously good. Walks were a problem. Helsley's probably not going to make that too much better unless he really figures it out. Kopech probably wouldn't make it too much better. These guys throw hard, and they're like Felix. Sometimes they do walk some guys, and then they'll strike out the next 3. Right? But velocity wins in the bullpen, especially in the postseason. And right now, the Orioles just don't have enough of it. Now, Cade Stroud can kind of hum it up there a little bit, 96, 97. He can touch 98. That helps. Rico Garcia can do it. He's a guy that I would prefer Michael Kopech to probably upgrade over. Keegan Aiken's a guy that can throw 95, 96, but he's also a guy that I would like to probably upgrade if this team was serious about winning a championship. There's a lot of things to go over. And there's actually some things that I want to go back and touch on here, but I'll go back to that in a minute. But bullpen is probably my number 2 priority behind offense right now. And I know I'm probably completely opposite of everybody else, and you're probably going to rip me in the comments, and you know what, I probably deserve it because I'm weird and I think differently. Offense to me, I think you get one more big bat, and I think you're World Series favorites at this point if you get one more big bat. You bring in a guy like Michael Kopech and then Jojo Romero too in the bullpen, you're looking at a shutdown. What Craig Albanez is used to coming from Cleveland, a shutdown bullpen, right? You give him that back. It's something different when you know that the last 9 outs of a ball game are pretty much accounted for when you got a slam-door bullpen, right? I want it. I've wanted it for years. And you had it, 23? You had at least the last 6 outs with Cano and Batista. Like, you just knew those last 6 outs were accounted for 99% of the time. You bring in Kopech and Helsley, and you have Kittredge. Bring in someone else. I would love to acquire Garrett Cleavinger from Tampa somehow, right? Be my dominant lefty, but somehow, some way, Griffin Jacks too. You get 4 extremely talented bullpen arms. I'm telling you, this is one of the favorites in the AL. It is. The offense is already pretty good. You would add to it. You make it even better. The starting pitching just has to pitch to a 4 ERA at that point. Just get to the 6th inning with a lead. I don't care if that leads 5-3, right? You get to the 6th inning with that kind of bullpen, I like my chances. Even Sir Anthony Dominguez, I still think he's good. The splitter's great. He gets you to that spot. I would take Sir Anthony Dominguez over Rico Garcia, I can tell you that. You know, Geraldo, I don't even know how to say his name. I apologize. But yeah, I would take him back. Velocity is something that this team needs bad. So I do want to go back and touch on some stuff with Zach Eflin. I seen you here in my notes, and I apologize. To the how good was he? So in 2024, when we acquired Zach Eflin, this is what his pitches did. His curveball had a 50-inch drop. 50. That's not a typo. 50 with an 11-inch run to the glove side. Wow, right? 26-inch drop on the cutter, right? Beginning of 24, he still had a semi-decent arm angle, but obviously you had no drop in 2025. 28-inch drop on the sinker with a 15-inch run to the arm side. 15-inch run to the arm side. Imagine being a right-handed hitter and a ball thrown in the inside corner on you, and all of a sudden it's literally on the knob of your bat. Good luck. That's why he was so effective. And the changeup had a 34-inch drop with a 15-inch run arm side. So he was throwing, 92, 93, and then all of a sudden he's dropping in an 81-mile changeup that ran a foot and a half. It was stupid, and that's why he was so effective. You get him back to that, holy crap, pitching staff's going to be pretty good without even acquiring a starter, right? And like I said before, if they went the bat route, there's still the trade deadline to acquire a big-time starter. If Minnesota's out of it, maybe Pablo Lopez and Joe Ryan are available again. If Hunter Green keeps acting up in Cincinnati and all of a sudden, they just can't stand it in a locker room anymore. Well, now you got a big deal. If Tariq Skubal is not traded by then, there's your chance. There's ways to acquire big-time starting pitching. It doesn't have to be right now. We all want it to be right now, myself included. It just has to be the right fit, right deal kind of thing. But let's get some of these comments. I apologize. It's been a lot, and I've been missing some of them. And holy crap, there's 115 of them, so bear with me here. Bear with me here. Whoa, that got real small on me here. If we sign a top-of-the-rotation guy, do you want Eflin or Kramer at the number 5? You got to go with Eflin, just because of the career that he's had. Now, if it's a big game and a guy needs a break, I'm going Dean Kramer all day. If it's the Yankees in Yankee Stadium, I'm going Dean Kramer all day. Because he's going to show up against the big-time teams. That's just me, though. Chad says, Eflin's a good addition only if it's for depth. Need a frontline guy. And I agree. But even if it's just the depth, like the depth that this starting rotation has right this second is pretty decent. As long as nobody got hurt. Now, we know how that goes. Now, if somebody gets hurt, then we're really screwed. But as it stands right now, I like the first 5 guys. It only can get better. It only can get better. Obviously, at the point where you're bringing somebody in now that's better than Dean Kramer, and Dean's pretty decent for us, pretty decent. I pulled his playoff stats against playoff teams since 23, and it was like a 3.6 ERA. Like, Dean shows up against the big-time teams. It's some kind of mental lapse against the teams that he should just mollywop. He just doesn't. I don't understand. But, again, you upgrade Dean Kramer, and you're in a really good spot. And if it happens to be Ranger Suarez or Fran Perales, man, good luck. Good luck. Hyde DeGrasse says Eflin should be ready by May. He claims to think in his interview today that he's ready to go by spring training, like mid-spring training, to where like he could make a mid-April appearance on the mound in a big league game. So I don't know. Even if it's May, like I still like the depth. It's not enough. We need a top of the rotation starter, Amai or Suarez. I would love Amai. I'll throw that out there right now. I would love Amai. I think he sets this rotation apart. Suarez is great, obviously, with the off speed and whatnot, and keeps guys off balance. But you got somebody going in there throwing 99 miles an hour. It's hard to hit, man. Kim says you can never have enough starting pitching. We learned that lesson the hard way last season. Exactly. And I think Povich gets better. Now it becomes probably a bullpen guy. Tyler Wells becomes a bullpen guy. You still have Albert Suarez, but that's three guys that are swing arms that could make a spot start if somebody got sick or something day of, or something didn't feel right in the bullpen like it happened with Grayson. You have plenty of guys now. They didn't have that last year at all. Let's see. Eflin said he believes he'll be ready by opening day. Yeah, exactly. And even if he's not, like even if it's 2 weeks, like I'm still okay with him missing 2 weeks to make sure he's 100% ready to roll. What I don't want is him to come in and try to rush it, and then all of a sudden it's sore or something like that. Now, being 8 months away, I would doubt that, but still, I mean, things can happen. I'm okay with it. I really like the idea of trading and extending for Peralta. In my opinion, with the lockout looming, why wouldn't he get an extension done now? I mean, that's a valid point. I wouldn't argue that, Austin, at all. It's a very valid point. Do I think we still add a frontline starter? I do. It just, if the prices come down to where they should be, yes, it's done deal. I think they're ready to pull the trigger when they're not bidding against themselves. But we know how Scott Boras acts. I think as a fan base, we've learned to play the waiting game with Scott Boras probably better than most other teams because we have like 7 clients of his. But I do think it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. It could be tomorrow. It could be like 2-3 weeks into spring training. Like you know how Boras works, and sometimes it backfires on him. I mean, Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell, it backfired on him waiting that long. So maybe, hopefully, that kind of gets into these guys' minds a little bit, and they sign a little bit earlier. C-Matt says, I like the Eflin move, solid depth move, but we do need to get Amaya Suarez. Yeah, I mean, I'm completely with you on that one. You don't think this is the end for addressing the rotation, or the end right for addressing it? I don't think it's the end. They'll address it in some way, some form of fashion, and I don't think they would settle for a guy like Chris Bassett or something like that. Not with the amount of sheer talent that they have that's tradable. They have the ability to go trade for people we're not even hearing about, right? Nobody was hearing about Shane Baz. No, they put a package together and they went and got him. They got their guy that they wanted. They literally can do the same thing to almost any team in baseball. Almost. They got a lot of talent. Do I think this is the last? Nope. They're going to find a way to acquire somebody somehow. Apparently, Amaya has 0 offers so far. I was talking to my guy about this earlier, and I was like, is it really true that he has 0 offers, or is it 0 competitive offers for Boris' sake? Because Boris is his agent. He didn't answer. He just laughed, which makes me think that it's possible that this is just fluff, and he just doesn't have a Boris offer. Like I said, he wants big money. And if you offered him $19 million a year, Boris is going to say he's got no serious offers, right? Because he wants 30. I do think he's got some offers in hand. I just don't think it's in the price range that Boris wants right now. If he's healthy and they sign someone, do they go to a 6-man rotation? I've seen multiple people asking about that, to be completely honest with you. And I'm not 1,000% against it, especially if they went with Amai, because he's used to a 6-man rotation. That's what they throw in Japan. That might make him adjust a little bit better. I don't know. I don't know if a team has really tried it for so long. The hard part is you want to get your horses going, and it's really hard to get everybody adjusted to a 6-man. The thing with April is April has so many built-in rain days that you almost can get away with a 4-man rotation. Do they do that route? I don't know. I think with Bradish probably being on a slight innings limit early in the season, with Wells maybe being on an innings limit too, Eflin maybe being on an innings limit early on in the season too. It's possible they go with a 6-man. Yeah. April's it's just funky with how the rain dates work out. Sean says, we talked about this when multiple players were rehabbing last season. If Eflin is throwing a bullpen in a week, he's been doing lawn toss for at least a month. He should be ready. Primarily, he's probably been doing flat grounds. He's probably thrown 120 feet. I don't know if he's probably ramped it up to 100%. But a bullpen, when you hear a bullpen, he's likely going to throw that bullpen at 60 to 70%. And I'm talking like maybe 15 fastballs. Like you're talking day one, which is primarily normal. I would say by mid-spring training, he should be ready to ramp up and see some game action. Now, is that a 3-inning start or is it just a 1-inning thing? It's probably just a 1-inning thing. I could see Eflin probably starting the year in Norfolk for 1 to 2, maybe 3 starts, which is, what's that? With the rain delays, he would probably miss 2 starts in the big league. Not rain delays, rain out, or godly. Rain dates built in, with the off days. He would miss maybe 2 starts. I don't even care about that. I really don't. I'm not a fan of the 6-man rotations because it means one less reliever in the bullpen. That's also valid. Especially early on, you probably want to not tax your bullpen early. Will we get another bat and a frontline starter? So the scenario here, Rage, is yes, you could. You could buy the bat and trade for the frontline starter. And I think a lot of people are kind of forgetting that. Like, yeah, you could go buy Kyle Tucker right now if you wanted to and then trade for someone. Probably Freddie Peralta. If you brought in Kyle Tucker, Dylan Beavers is available. Do you really want to trade Dylan Beavers? No. But when you get the guy you want Dylan Beavers to be, he becomes available, right? Because that's who you want him to be. But now you got that guy. The guy who's been there in the postseason, who's really hits with runner scoring position extremely well. Could Dylan do it? Sure, definitely could. But why have 2 of them? If I could trade Beavers for Peralta with an extension attached to it, like I'm okay with doing that. You might not be, but I am. Because I have Kyle Tucker at that point, and now I have Freddie Peralta for 4 or 5 years. Right? I'd be completely okay with that. But if not, then I'm keeping him, and I'll try to trade Kowser or something like that, or whatever they want to do. There's a surplus on this team of hitters that you could trade and acquire Freddie Peralta or Joe Ryan. And Minnesota thinks they're going to compete, and I just wish they were a little bit more realistic about it. Like, you're not beating Detroit. You're just not. Kansas City's going to get better. You're not beating them. The White Sox, I'm not going to say they've got better. They're not going to be good, but they got a lot better. Like, they're going to be competitive more than they were last year. Like, Minnesota just needs to be a little realistic here. Like, either go on a rebuild, and Tampa's doing the same thing. Either just do it or don't. Like, I don't think I think they're afraid of losing their fans, but look, we lost our fans for a couple of years. We went through the rebuild. We came out of it, and for the most part, most of us came back. Yes, there was a little bit of a down year last year because we were pretty upset, but teams got to understand that it's okay to go through a rebuild because they do come back. Winning solves everything, right? If you trade Joe Ryan, yeah, you're going to be pissed. But if you get like 5 guys come back, then help your big league team within 2 years, like, does it matter? Because you weren't winning with Joe Ryan within 2 years anyway. Like, they just got to be a little bit more realistic than what they're doing. The fact is, he could walk, much less pitch in a major league game. Has a pinched nerve. Yeah, right. I've had sciatic nerve issues at times that I literally couldn't walk. And like you said, pitching in a major league game it's impressive. Heisengrass says, I'm guessing Kramer isn't healthy. I mean, maybe. But I wouldn't think that. I think they saw what happened last year and they know they need help. Why would Kramer not be healthy? End of the season healthy, never reports of any injuries. There's always one that pops up. I won't put it past that. But, I don't think he's hurt, but I mean, remember that one year we just got that bombshell dropped on us that Kyle Bradish needed Tommy John or, was going to try to pitch through it. Yeah, that sucked. Could that happen? Sure. Eflin had a 2.6 ERA first in 24. Exactly. You get a healthy Zach Eflin back, and things are going to shake out pretty good. Jackson says, I don't understand why you would think that. I think a lot of weird things, Jackson. I'll be completely honest with you. I think outside the box a little bit, maybe a little bit more than the average person, but whatever. The best thing I like about Eflin is the fact that he doesn't walk a lot of people. Yes. He goes right after you in the zone. He's not afraid to pitch outside of it. He's not afraid to pitch in it. He's going to go right after you. And if you hit him, you hit him, right? He's just going to put the next ball on the ground for a double play. Like he's got a lot of confidence in himself. Why do I think there's no market for Amaya so far? I definitely think there's a market. It's just, is it Boris's market? That's the big question. Natty Bobird. I like the move personally. If you guys are new to Twitter, Natty Bobird, go follow him. Eflin will give us depth that is needed. Yep. I didn't like this move at first, but once I realized how much his injury would have impacted his performance, I like to move much more. Yeah. And look, it's really easy for fans that aren't Oriole fans to like come out here and say, oh, the Orioles aren't trying again. They're trying to, Zach Eflin sucks. He got this and this and this. Like, just let him talk. Just let him talk. Zack Eflin's been a successful big league pitcher in this league. And apparently been successful while hurt. Right? So imagine what he's going to do when he's not hurt. So I'm excited for Eflin. I think he brings a lot to the table. If you have 4 guys pitching to a 3.7 or below with this lineup, you're winning 100+ games. It's very possible. I mean, you technically look, if you stout the bullpen, you could win 100+ games with 4 guys throwing 4s. Maybe not. Maybe 3. I think Bradish is going to just have a crazy year personally. Like I said, I think he's one of the best in the AL. Dean had a forearm issue in September. MRI looked okay, but it did for Means and Bradish too. Yeah, I think Dean's okay though. I think Dean's okay because velocity didn't dip at all. Didn't miss any time. But I don't know. Another night with Zach. You love to see it. I appreciate you being here, British. I appreciate it, buddy. I'm supposed to be editing, but here I am. If all 5 of your pitchers all pitch to below a 3.7 or lower, which should be 105, 110 wins. I mean, you would think so, but look, if you don't fix the bullpen, you can have starters at 3.7s and still lose games. So bullpen's a big priority too. Big priority. If they sign a front line or trade for one, who goes? Good question, Joe. I don't know if anybody necessarily has to go, so to say. It depends on who the team asks for in return. If you go the trade route, if you sign one, I think there's options across the board. I mean, Povich obviously has options. Brandon Young has options. Cano still has options. You have guys you can move to the bullpen. Again, if you upgrade Aiken and Garcia and guys like that, like I think you get better overall. Povich is a guy that I like, and I'm going to do a video on it soon. I like Povich in the bullpen. He really gets lefties out, and he actually gets righties out the first time through the lineup. Like, he's actually pretty good facing that first time through the lineup. It could be a really good, really good first, whatever it's called. Oh, sorry, wife texted me. British Raven, you're a legend wherever you go, my friend. Yes, he is. If we manage to get 162 innings out of the 5 current projected starters, that's only 5 innings a game. You still need a starter that can get more innings. Yes and no. I mean, some of them are gonna go more than 5 at a time. There's also going to be spot starts here and there. There's going to be double headers where you get a 27th man and guy gets a little bit of a break. Like, there's ways to eat innings, and the biggest thing with the Orioles is just find a way to eat innings and score runs. Get through 5 innings, get through 6 innings, score runs, hand it over to your bullpen. That's the key to success for a winning baseball team. hand it over to your bullpen with a lead. A good bullpen, not the bullpen we had last year. Jay Chass says, Mai is worth 7. I would go 7 on a Mai if I wasn't paying 30 a year. That's tough to give a guy that hasn't thrown a big league pitch. Now, I'm not saying that he's not going to be good, because several Japanese players come over here and they're good. Some come over here and they're not. We saw Fujinami not be very good. We saw Sagano not be good, very good. Now, a lot maybe had to do with his age, but you sink $30 million out over 7 years, and he's turns into Sagano in like year 2. Like, yeah, we would have some issues. Mario Power says, "Don't tell Blue Jays fans that Cease is an overpay." I did. I had a good bit of fun with them trolling the other night. I was a little bored. I had a little bit of time on my hands, and I had a good bit of fun. And they were good sports about it. We had a good time. They probably think I'm an idiot, but it's fine. 7 for 70 for a Mai. I think Boris would hang right up, to be completely honest with you. Boris would hang right up. Cozy Nate says, I'd go 5 for Ranger. Look, if Ranger would accept 5, I think he'd be an Oriole right now. I'd tell you that. If Ranger would accept 5, he'd be an Oriole right now. If you sign Ranger and go with a 6-man rotation, it might help him get his velo back a little bit. I think you manage his weight. He'll get his velo back. He's had some weight issues over the years. He's ticked up just a little bit, and velo's gone down just a little bit. But look, the off speed's still really good. It's still really, really good. So I think they're okay there. I've been seeing the likes fly off on YouTube here. I appreciate you guys very, very much. If you're new here, drop a like on the stream, drop a sub. We do this as often as we can. I try to engage with the community as often as I can. I can't do this without you, so I'm trying to be here as much as I can for you guys. But yeah, if you're new, if you're ever on Twitter, slide on over to YouTube, same name, Pigtown Sports. Drop a sub so you don't miss out, and join this awesome community over here on YouTube. Joe says, call San Diego for Kevin Cobbs. I've seen a couple different guys. Morjan was pretty good. I like Estrada. San Diego's got some guys in the bullpen that could really help us out. G-Chat says, I personally love Amaya, but I wouldn't overpay for him. 24 to 27 million. The return on investment on him opening up the Japanese market would make up for the salary. That I agree with. If you can convince him at 24 to 26, I'd be pretty happy with that, and I would go 7 years on that, I think. Like you said, to open up that market. It's a big deal. It's a big deal to open up that market. Johnny got mad because 4.5 ERA got 7 years, but he has elite metrics. Hey, they're all about the metrics, baby. I'm all about results. I'm all about results, but it's all good. He's going to pitch well there. I think Toronto has some pretty good coaches. I think they'll get him to unlock a little bit. The thing with me with Dylan Cease, I've always just viewed him as a guy that just mentally didn't have it when it mattered. And why I've often compared him to Dean Kramer. Is he better than Dean Kramer with the metrics and the fastball and whatnot? Yeah. Like, I'm not going to be dumb about that. He is. But Dean Kramer beats playoff teams, and he beats big teams, and he lives up to the moment. He stinks when it doesn't matter, but when the Orioles need it, Dean Kramer has always delivered. And I can't say the same thing about Dylan Cease in his career. And we're 7 years in, right? I can't say the same thing. He's done it sometimes, but he's just not consistent enough for me to give 7 years to. And Toronto's a team that they need that. They need that pitching. What if he fails? Like, what if the moment gets? What if he becomes a Jack Flaherty for them? They're going to lose their mind, right? But Trevor Hoffman went up there and he succeeded slightly. I think Cease is going to be completely fine up there, to be honest. I think their coaching staff is just fine. They're going to unlock a little bit. I could still see him pitching to over a 4 ERA, though. I really do. The way the ball moves on that turf, the ball kind of flies out the left field there. I could see him pitching to above a 4. He could come back and have a Cy Young season again. Who knows? That's baseball. That's why we love it, right? It wasn't the pitching that got us to lose in the wild card series in 24. 23 too, right? They didn't hit it all in 23. They had that one game where they hit, but it was also the same game they gave up a lot of runs, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, the offense has been the issue for a while. So that's my number one priority. Again, like I said, I'm the only one that might think that way, but that's fine. This offense with Alonso, Ward, and Gunnar, Adley, Westy, etc. can put up 5 runs a game. I wouldn't be mad about adding another bat. Exactly. Like just let's project here for a minute. Say they sign Cody Bellinger. It doesn't matter at this point, Bellinger or Tucker. But hypothetically here, Gunnar Henderson leads off. Outstanding hitter, right? Jordan Westberg's behind him. Outstanding hitter, right? Keep him healthy. And then you had Tucker Bellinger. Again, freaking outstanding hitter, right? Then Pete Alonso. See where I'm going with here? Right now you have to throw the ball to Kyle Tucker or Cody Bellinger because you don't want to have 1 to 2 guys on with Pete Alonso up. And then Taylor Ward, right? In case Pete doesn't get on or something or just drives a guy over. 30 home runs with a 30 home run guy leading off. And you would be worried about pitching at that point? Like, this team would be good. This team would be good. But even if it was just Harrison Bader, like, Bader's still good. Like, Bader hit 270 last year, 10, 14 home runs, something like that? 15 home runs? I could be shortchanging him there. 70-some RBIs. Like, Harrison Bader's a good addition. Colton Cowser could figure it out. I know everybody hates him, but he could figure it out and hit 25, 30 home runs and hit 240. I think we'd all be pretty pleased with that. Right? Cut down on the strikeouts just a little bit, hit a little bit better with runners in scoring position. I think we'd all be pretty happy with that. But yeah, offense is what's got to. Dustin Lynn's got his hands full, getting these guys ready to rock and roll. Oh, that's a bannable comment, Joe. Bring back Mateo, give him $9 million. That's a bannable comment. At least a timeout. Just kidding, buddy. Don't ever say that again, though. I feel you on the bat, but I don't want to have to go up to put up 8 to win. I hope we get a top of the rotation guy. I see the thing with top of the rotation guy, I want one. I do want one. They only get to pitch every 5 days. So what if, your pitching is only giving up 4 runs once a week, right? And you're not scoring 8 runs to win. Like, there's a give and take to it. There's a give and take to now. Do I think my pitching rotation is better than that? Yeah. Top of the rotation guy sets us apart big time. But having that scary top of the lineup too, and then you turn it over to a great bullpen, that's the recipe to win it right there. Ship sailed for Mateo. Signed Belly, trade Mayo, Cowser, and Povich, EBJ, and Gibson for Hunter Green. That's a lot. I think you could probably get Hunter Green for a little bit less than that. Maybe. I don't know. You might. Now that I think about it for a second, that might be right. Hunter Green's good. He's going to cost a lot. Yeah, you might be right there. That might be a good package. I don't know. I think we have to keep one of Cowser or Bradfield, though, Austin. Yes, I agree with that. Now, especially now you got to get rid of Austin or Vern because Austin was going to be great. They might be really high on Nate George, too. I don't know. I mean, Nate George is flying up through the system. He's a damn good player. Check this cup out. My wife made this for me a couple years ago. World's greatest dad. It's pretty cute. Bunch of little pictures and stuff of me and the kids. It's pretty cute. It's old now, but it was pretty awesome when I got it. Michael says, Bellinger would be nice in center field. I 1,000% agree with you. 1,000%. The good thing about Eflin is that he gives you 10 to 15 starts. You feel confident with him that guys like Brandon Young or Povich at this moment. Exactly. Yes. Bellinger isn't as elite in center as he is on the corners. That's okay. I think this team defensively is going to be a lot better than we think, though, right now, without any kind of additions. But you go get Harrison Bader, now you're really talking about elite outfield. I'd rather keep Beavers over Cowser and Bradfield, but you got to take one out. But yes, so you could do that. I mean, I think Beavers is fast enough that he could play center field. He just has a lot to learn. Our offense is good enough to manage to carry Enrique's bat for this phenomenal defense. Maybe. It hasn't been. So they have a lot to prove to get to that point, and I don't know if you can just throw that out there after spring training. Yeah, you guys only played like 13 games in AAA, and then still struggle a little bit down in the Arizona Fall League. He's got a stance change he needs to go through. They need to fix that a little bit. So, I mean, it might be mid-season, though, before we see him. Adis says, I have this feeling we might get one of the big bats. I think I have the same feeling with you, buddy. Do we think Cade stays up and goes to the bullpen or gets optioned? I think even if he does go to the bullpen, I think you see him go back to Norfolk to just kind of like get used to coming out of the bullpen, like ramping up in a moment's notice. Now, he probably did that in college, maybe here and there, but a little bit different in the big leagues. But I think you see him kind of just get used to that, like phone rings, hey, get up, get ready as fast as possible kind of things, because that's not something you don't want to try to learn in the big leagues. So I could see him probably starting in Norfolk. We're at 187 comments right now. You guys are incredible. I can't even put into words like how thankful I am for you guys. Like, for real. 188 comments, like, it's incredible. I can't even keep up with you guys. And I never thought I'd be here someday, but I truly appreciate every single one of you that are here watching and commenting right now. It's so fun. It's so fun to just talk baseball with you guys. It's awesome. I love it. Millersville Tim getting a look. No, not me. I love the idea of adding Estrada. I like Estrada a lot. Even Morjan or Garrett Clevenger or Griffin Jacks or Edwin Yosida. Like, there's a lot of really good bullpen arms out there that you can acquire, and you got a lot of talent to be able to go out and acquire them. You know, you just got to make the right deal for teams. I think a lot of people forget this team's already loaded with talent. I'm looking forward to seeing what the steps they make to make this with this new elite coaching staff. I agree with you, Natty. I agree with you, bud. Dean Kramer's way better than people think. If you take out the April starts from last season, he had about a 3.3 ERA. Yeah. Yeah, and look, Dean, he does. He struggles at times, and I'll be the first one to admit that. He doesn't beat the teams he should, and I've said that multiple times here tonight. But I think Dean's great. He's a great 4 or 5 in this league. I agree with Natty Bo Bird. Definitely going to the pen, Laura, unless he gets traded for a lefty specialist. Yep. Kopech would be a nice add in the bullpen. His starter experience will allow him to go multiple innings if needed. Yeah. But hell, just imagine Kopech coming out throwing 100, 101, 102. He's touched 103, and then you get Ryan Helsley. Just, that's what I want. Like, I want to put the fear in hitters. I want Aaron Judge to try and catch up with bases loaded in New York to 103. Like, that's sim in a baseball right there. That's awesome. We all want that. I didn't mean to put that up there. Justin says, yes on Kopech. Kopech would be a lot of fun, man. Cano, Kitcher, Kopech, and Helsley 6 through 9. Yes, please. Right? Get you excited just even thinking about it. Are you concerned about our situation in the bullpen with the lack of a true lockdown lefty? Yes and no. I mean, obviously you can still acquire one, but do you need a lockdown lefty? It's a nice to have, but you don't need it. You just need to get lefties out. Doesn't matter how, doesn't matter who it is. Like, just get them out. Just hand the ball to the next guy. Do your job. Get the guys out. If you could do that effectively, while minimizing the damage, you don't need a lockdown lefty. It's just really nice to have. Aiken has done the job okay, efficiently. Should I even say efficiently? I don't know. He's done the job, but I think it's an upgradable job, if that makes sense. Does it need to be locked down? No. Just a touch more consistent and higher leverage. Aiken does a great job in certain leverages. You just want a little bit more consistency and high leverage, and I think that already enhances your bullpen. But not concerned, though. Is Jojo Romero an upgrade over Aiken? I think so. I mean, he's been there for a long time. The thing with Jojo Romero, he got used and abused last year. He had 66 innings or something like that. Like, that's a lot for a lefty specialist. But I still think he's still definitely better than Aiken. I can't remember what stat it was, but they said the other night that Aiken was the worst lefty in the majors in that category. That was probably from me, and it was several of them. It was several of them. Kim says Sir Anthony. Yes, she loves Sir Anthony, and I do too. I think he'd fit well back in here. He's an upper 90s guy, right? And he's got a filthy split finger, and he would fit in really well here. Is there a trade involving Kramer or Povich in the works? So I asked today. I said, hey, any word at all on trading? Obviously, you got 3 first basemen right now. You got a ton of outfielders. You got some young pitching. Nothing. It's quiet. And quiet could be a good thing because the Orioles like to operate in silence. And quiet could mean that they're out actually doing homework on guys that we're not even hearing about that can help this team, like Shane Baz. So quiet is a good thing sometimes. So yes, could there be? Maybe. I haven't heard about it, but again, quiet's a good thing. Lars says, can never have enough pitching. Ask the Dodgers. Right. They go through what? Like 17 starters a year or something like that? Joe says, Wells, bullpen, spot starter, Big Al, use them all. Use them all. Like I said, beginning of the show, it takes 28 to 30 guys to win a championship or a playoff series, whatever. You're going to need to use all these guys. So get them all ready to rock and roll. Don't pitch Dean at night or against bad teams. Pretty simple. There you go. Dean will have a 3 ERA. Best move we've made so far is firing Cody Ashley. I think the best move they made so far is just hiring Craig Albanez and just allowing him to bring in the guys that he wants, right? Not having Mike kind of pick the staff that he wants, but letting Albie go and do everything that he wants, his way, his philosophy, his guys, right? Most of them are San Francisco guys, but hey, that team won a lot of ball games. I'm not going to question it. But I am excited to see what they can do with some of our younger players. That's for dang show. Bader and Alonso were teammates at the University of Florida. I know. That'd be a lot of fun. Suarez and Eflin give the Orioles a much-needed depth at starting pitching, but they still need that ace or a solid number 2 in via free agency or trade. Mad Dog, I agree with you. I think trade could be a likely route. Go get a big bat, trade for that starter. Listen, like I said, you got the elements to go out and swing big in a trade because you got a lot of them. Wayne says, we need one more veteran bat to complete this lineup. Go get Tucker. I agree. And if it's not Tucker, I mean, look, Bellinger's won an MVP in this league. He's accomplished. Bader is he's good. I wouldn't put him at the level of maybe like Bregman or Bichette. But those two guys, do I have room for them? No, I don't have room for any of these guys. But just think, like, make it work because these guys have been there at the game's highest stage and they've performed. Make it work. If you're truly winning or truly serious about winning, I like my guys more than anybody. But if I got a chance to sign Bo Bichette and put him at second base every day, I'm going to do it. Because he's been there and he hits with 2 strikes. He hits a runners in scoring position. He's a leadoff guy. Like, he's everything this team needs. I'll figure out something to do with Jackson Holiday later. Center field, left field, something else. Trade for Tariq Skubal, Hunter Green. Like, Jackson Holiday will still help the team some way, right? But Bichette is going to go in your lineup and help you win a championship. Like, there's a big difference. So yeah, go get one of them. Let's answer some real questions. Soft pretzel or peanuts? Soft pretzel, bro. Easily. Soft pretzel. Salty as hell with some cheese. Now you got me ready to go to a ball game. In confidence that Mike will sign another big bat once he gets our ace or before. I would say they want to do it after, but it could be before. It could. So I really don't know. I think this is how the chips fall. We don't know how they're falling right now. Bring me Gavin Williams. If it works, right? O's need another quality bat and a top starter if they want to not just make the playoffs. How owners have been holding Elias to the fire more so since he was named president of baseball operations than the bad season happened. I think they have been holding him a little bit. Or just flat out said, like, hey, like this is your last chance kind of thing. Like, you've done a lot for this organization with draft and developing players, internationally signing guys and stuff. We're not just going to just ship you to the curb for one missed season, but I think they definitely came in and said, like, hey, dude, like, this is it. We're savages. We didn't get here by being nice guys. We're not billionaires because we're nice. So I don't know. I definitely think things happen there. Cozy Nate says, I don't agree with the 6-man unless you get an MI or Ranger level pitcher. I need those extra Bradish starts. Yeah. Jeremiah Jackson is a super utility man that can make room for a 6th starter. Having a DH that could be a 3rd catcher is also nice. Well, I mean, you got Taylor Ward that could also be a 3rd catcher too. He drafted as a catcher. He's actually caught a big league game. I think it was like 2021 or something, but he can do it. I mean, Ryan Flaherty did it for the O's. So you don't really need to carry a 3rd. But yeah, Taylor Ward can certainly do it. And Jackson's great. I think Jackson's a great utility man. No issues with him whatsoever. But early in the year, you definitely want to. You definitely don't want to crush your bullpen. I'd honestly go Tucker Belly, then trade for Peralta. I mean, that makes your team extremely good, doesn't it? All right, right. We just talked about that. Taylor Ward could be the emergency third string. Yep. Are we having a Pigtown sports night at the park this summer? I mean, I'd like to. I don't think I'm big enough for that yet. But there'll be some times that I'll be able to get to a game, and I can certainly put it out there and meet up with whoever. I'm always down to meet new people. You know, find me at Pickles. Actually, I'll be completely honest with you guys. I hang out at 771 a good bit now compared to Pickles, mainly because like you can just walk up to the bar a lot faster. The food's really good. I don't know. I don't like being like crowded on top of people and like having to wait 25 minutes to get a beer. Like it takes me like 3 minutes at 771. So there's times that I hang out there all the time. When I go with my wife, that's where we go. So, but yeah, I don't think I'm big enough to have a night at the park. But hell, if this thing keeps growing and the Orioles could hook me up, or we could like get a section or something like that, like an entire section at a discounted rate, like that'd be fun. I would love to start doing that. What would you bet on currently signing one of Amaya, Suarez, Valdez, or trading for Peralta? That's a great question, Steve. What would I bet on? I think I would bet on signing Suarez. I think. For right now. As today stands right now, bet on signing Suarez. I like a frontline guy, but if Boris isn't budging and settle for Eflin, Bradish isn't added. For Eflin, Bradish is an ad. He finished fourth to Cy Young. If Eflin is healthy, he's a good 3. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Bird says we need the front end guy and bullpen help. Definitely need some bullpen help for sure. Front end guy definitely just adds to icing on the cake there. Appreciate the love. Anything for you, sir. Anything for you. Eflin's a big clubhouse guy too. It's a good thing. Yes, they're definitely building a big clubhouse thing here. 212 comments. You guys are going nuts tonight. Going nuts. Is it good grief? How many people have I pissed off? All right. Not trying to compare the two, but do you think Povich could end up being like Britton type pitcher, starting move to the bullpen? So, Steve, I actually pulled a little bit of numbers, and I thought about making like a short for TikTok or Instagram or something on this. And if you guys aren't following me on TikTok and Instagram, I make short form content over there as well. It's eerie similar how Cade Povich and Brian Mattis are starting their careers right now. Eerie similar. Like down to the numbers almost across the board. Scary. But it's incredible, man. It's incredible. And I do think that Povich could become Brian Mattis and get really tough lefties out in big time situations. I really do. He's still young though. He's still got a lot to learn. He's still got to kind of, perfect that kick change a little bit. I think you send him into the bullpen. I think his velocity ticks up just a hair. I do think there's 94, 95 in Cade Povich. I do. And Brian Mattis was 96, 97 early in his career, but he settled in nicely later on at 94, 95 and got a lot of guys out. So I do think that Cade Povich could become Brian Mattis, or close to him. Pete McDevitt Raid, Happy New Year. Oh, thank you, Pete. I apologize. So the software that I'm using, so I use Mac computers here. It doesn't actually alert me, so I apologize to not seeing that as to now. I'm scrolling down, so it looks like it doesn't tell me how much longer ago. But thank you guys very much for coming in. Looks like there were several of you here. Pete McDevitt Raid, Happy New Year. I appreciate it, guys. I definitely appreciate it. Welcome in. I'm Pigtown. If you guys have never been here before, drop a sub, drop a like. I appreciate it. Pete's a great dude. I try to stop in when I can and follow in some of his stuff. So if you guys like follow alongs between like NFL games, baseball games, Pete's a great guy to follow. Thank you very much, Pete. Man, look at all this stuff. There's Pete. Raid coming. I appreciate you, sir. Sorry if I missed this for a long time here. I've been trying to catch up on every comment that I could. But thank you very much, Preet. I appreciate it. Like I said, if you guys are into like follow alongs, if you don't have cable or something like that, Pete's a great dude. I think he covers almost every game, every sport. Pete does a lot, and he's a great follow. Thank you guys again for all coming over here. He's closer to Yamamoto than Sagano or Fuji. I agree with that. I do agree with that. We're talking about Amai, but there's always that what if, always that what if. What if he turns into it? Yeah, right. That's what everybody wants, right? That's what everybody freaking wants. An organized raid. I didn't even know you could raid on YouTube, to be completely honest with you. That's really awesome. Thank you guys very much again. Every single one of it is Christ. There's a lot of you guys here. I appreciate it. Joe celebrates 2 months of memberships here. Keep growing. I appreciate that, dude. Appreciate it, Joe. Thank you very much, man. Daniel says, what about the high AAV short deal for one of these top free agent stars? 4-year, $140 million. Would that interest them? I would not be shocked if that's been offered. I think we all just know how Scott Boras is. He wants what he wants, and he'll wait to the last second to take a deal like that. I mean, he did it with Alonso, I mean, he's aggressive, and sometimes it bites him, but a lot of times it pans out for his guys. So that's why Kramer's known as Deal and Dean, because he rises to the occasion of the best teams. Yeah, exactly. Could left-handed pitcher Joey Cantillo from the Guardians be under the radar target? Who would they give up for him? Not a guy that I've looked at deep, but it would make sense, right? It would definitely make sense. I'll have to look at him and let you know. I really hope they sign Tucker. It would elevate this team. Elevate him. Really curious about between the owners and Elias since last season. How significantly have they changed negatively or positively, affected in any way, made moves this offseason? I think it definitely affected it positively. They were like, hey, dude, like, checkbook's open. We're not telling you that you're fired, but like we need you to close the deals here. Like, this is a good team. We've invested a lot of money. We've invested more money. Like, I definitely think they've gone across the board, and I don't want to say gave an ultimatum, but it was like, let's get going now. And think about most business transaction anyway. That first year is always a feeler year anyway. It's easy to. Where he got in trouble was like, hey, there's a limited budget, but the first year is always a feeler year. Kind of see where you're at. Look at your projections and whatnot. And I think they did well, even though fans weren't there a lot. They still did well, and I think they made a lot of money. Now it's like, hey, let's go. Things got a little different. It was let's go. Acer says Bader and Kowser platoon would be sick. Yeah, it would. It definitely would. Trade for Jared Jones, Pirates, make our new closer. He's young. I don't know if you would be able to convince him to go to the bullpen just yet because he's effective as a starter. Our moves thus far have been good, but Tucker Bellinger would really move the needle. It definitely would. And I think they would have a lot of teams in the AL pretty shook too. Resign Gary Sanchez so we can see Zach lose his mind live again. Oh, please don't do that. That was I spazzed out. I know this was before a lot of you came over to this channel. I spazzed out when they signed Gary Sanchez. I was so mad. I don't like the choices for this year's free agent starters. Would much rather pull off a trade and sign a ridiculous contract in which we'd be stuck with this guy for 5 years or more. I think Mike Elias agrees with you. I really do. I think they like these guys this year, but they don't love them. And what I mean by that is if they loved them, they would be paying them 7 years. But they just like them, so they want to do 4 or 5. I think they agree with you. I think there's a big trade coming, and we will like it. I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. Does Josenberger make his MLB debut this year? I think Josenberger is probably a guy that eventually gets traded just because he's a good player, but he just doesn't have room here in Baltimore, if that makes sense. Good player, though. Beavers looks bad in the outfield. I think this new guy is going to help him out a little bit. Eflin said he's never felt better. Expect 150 out of him. I think 150 is fair. It's more than fair. I would love that. Would love that. Do I think Cano bounces back? I do. I think he's gonna get his arm slot back to where it was. And I think we get a good Cano. I think he does start the year at Norfolk though to kind of prove himself. But I think we get a good Cano back. Excuse me. Trade Cade, Kobe, Mountie, let Basayo play first and hit bombs. Go get another catcher. Could. I think Pete's going to play first, though. You could definitely let Basayo DH a good bit. EBJ went to Vandy, then O's Nation. Let's go, baby. We comment and ask if we adore you. I appreciate that, Laura. Like I said, I appreciate every one of you guys. I really do. This could be the best free agent since when? 2004 when we signed Tejada, Javi Lopez, and the other one. Thank you, Rubenstein. 1,000%. 1,000%. Yeah. Definitely probably since Tejada. Yep. But I think they still need to go more. Manny Machado, damn it. Manny'd be fun here again. He'd be fun. Any international young dudes we should be excited about with the international day coming? To be completely honest with you, I'm not the most versed in those. The on the verge guys are definitely best for that. They're definitely kind of mixed in with the minor league guys and whatnot. I would deflect that question to them. If I hear anything and if I start to kind of like maybe dig into one myself, I'll talk about it. But right at this moment, I don't really know enough. Those guys do. So if you don't know them, on the verge, they definitely cover a lot of prospects. Orioles Fanky says, this pin needs a velocity. 1,000% agree with you, brother. What would Mason Miller cost? Apparently he's available. A lot. And that's what kind of made me pivot today on Twitter. Was asking about Jeremiah Estrada. Now, Estrada has, I think, one more year of control, maybe less. I forget. But either way, like Estrada's the setup man, and they always need a setup man, but he's controllable. So when I looked at it, Estrada, I think was a 17 value. Now I just used the baseball trade simulator, and I know a lot of people hate that, but this is what I used. He was worth a 17 by himself. Now that's with 3 years control. So I put in Brandon Young, Kobe Mayo, and Stevie Martinez, who's the top 30 prospect for the Orioles. Not too high, but top 30. And that value was 28. And that value would have accepted that trade. Now, do I think San Diego would accept that trade? Probably not, because Estrada's pretty freaking good with control, and they don't have a ton of money. But my thinking was Kobe Mayo fills first base, right? Because right now Jake Cronenworth's playing first. Decent ball player, pretty good, but you get Kobe Mayo for 5 years. Brandon Young you get for 5 years. Another starter that they can help adapt with and get better with. And then Stevie Martinez is supposed to be a highly regarded international guy who's still young, like 17, 18 years old. I thought that was fair, but some San Diego fans said I was crazy, but you know how those trade things work. You know how they work. Did we pretty much get Boz for Brian Baker? Yeah, possibly. Very possible. Thinking about Jackson, Basayo, and Adley being 7, 8, 9 is crazy. That's why a lot of people are saying that we got one damn good lineup. Cowser can't hit lefties. We need a legit center fielder. I think you'll see a better Colton Cowser this year. Whole lot better, I don't know. But I do think we get a little bit better. Bichette, trade Holiday for a top of the rotation guy. I like Jackson Holiday, but I would take Bo Bichette in a heartbeat. I think Holiday can become a better version of Bichette as soon as next year, and I don't want to be attached to what Bichette contract would be. It would be a lot. It would definitely be a lot. Hot dog or Italian sausage? For me, I'm a hot dog guy. I don't know why. I'll eat Italian sausage, but I'm a hot dog guy. Attendance was way down. Something had to be done. It's been 43 years. 100%. 100%. But do you feel more confident now than you did in 2014? I'm getting there. I mean, obviously 2014 had some stars on it, but I think this team could have some stars on it too. I think this team's getting closer to the 2012 team that's starting to get those budding stars, and then we'll go from there. But it's all going to fall on what the coaches bring out of these guys. Was Eflin purely a depth move, or do they want to expand this tradable assets to include Kramer and Povich? Both. I could definitely see both. I would trade for Peralta. I think we all definitely do. Don't undersell yourself. Absolutely big enough to pull off a PTS night at the yard. It's all mindset. Yeah, it's hard to do, though. It's hard to do. We'll see. I got to meet somebody inside the front office to where, like, tickets would be discounted. Like I wouldn't want people to be paying full price or something like that. That's going to take a little bit. Definitely going to take a little bit. 229 comments. You guys are killing it, man. If fans can set up a Cowser fan section, no reason PTS night can't happen. I will say that they had help doing that. There was multiple people in there, but we'll see. We'll see. If I can meet the right people this year, it's possible. It's very possible. We'll see. Do you think a trade could be coming for a reliever or a starter in one go? Example, Peralta and McGill. That would be fun, right? Knock out two birds with one stone. It'd be a hell of a trade. Multiple guys probably. Could I see it? I would say probably less likely. It's hard to find two guys you really like and then also have a team let go of two guys at the same time, especially a team like Milwaukee who's pretty good and they're going to make the playoffs. Hard to pluck two major league guys away from them. So I would say probably less likely, but it could happen. Am I planning on doing post-game shows? Not all the time, Fanky, to be completely honest with you, because I do have 3 kids. One's turning 7 tomorrow, and then 5 and 3. My time is very limited, hence why I have to come on here at 8:45 at night when they go to bed, which my wife's texting me. Apparently they're not going to bed right now. But it's very hard for me to find time to do all this stuff. I actually coach my 7-year-old's baseball team. So from like March all the way through like August, I coach baseball between rec season and then the all-star season. And then I go right into football and I coach that. So like I'm busy. I'm a busy dude. I try to get on here as much as I can for you guys. Obviously the off season is a lot easier because all we're doing is basketball right now and I'm not coaching, but I do my very best to get on here as much as I can for you guys. And if it's not alive, then I try to do like a video or something like that and do like swing breakdowns or anything. And I do try to pump out shorts on TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. I don't post them on YouTube too much anymore because I felt like it was screwing with the algorithm a little bit, but they still go on those other platforms. I hope we get Suarez or Valdez or Anthony or center fielder Austin Hayes who had a good season. I don't know if they would bring Austin Hayes back, to be completely honest with you. I think he's a good player. I just don't know if they'd bring him back. The British are coming. The British are coming. Oh, boy. Amaya only has until January 2nd. Doesn't look to force Boris's hand. Not yet. He could literally wait till the last day if he wanted to. That's just how Boris looks, man. I mentioned for another breaking Orioles are acquiring notification. I need that rush. We're not used to it, man. We're not used to it. It's cool. If Tony V does good this season, do you think 2027 MLB teams pull from college first-year manager? Maybe. I wouldn't say it would happen pretty often, but maybe. How safe would Elias be if they got Ranger, Pete, and Tucker in one offseason? Pretty safe. Pretty safe. Could Boris' style clash with a posting period? Yes. Yes, it very well could. Is Elias too gun-shy about Suarez, Amaya, and Valdez because he's just that, too scared to make the wrong move more now? Or is it just he's not in love with any of them? I don't think he's in love with them. I don't think really anybody in baseball is, or they probably would have a much aggressive market right now than what they do. I think everybody really likes them. They're just not in love with them. Laura says, happy birthday, little one. I appreciate it. But we've been rolling here. Rolling an hour and 23 minutes in. That was a lot of reading comments there. 230 of them tonight. God, you guys are awesome. You rock. I appreciate it. But I am going to hop off. I got to go to bed. For some stupid reason, I'm still going to work this week. And if you guys are too, I hope you get through a good week, not have to deal with a bunch of crap. But that's it for me. I'm logging off for the night. Again, thank you to all of you guys. I really appreciate every single one of you stopping in tonight. I'm excited. There's some things happening in the background. Again, quiet is a good thing, I think, with this Orioles front office. I think they're working. I think their analytics guys are really diving into some guys that we're not even hearing about right now. And I think they're going to pull off something pretty cool. That's just me thinking there. There's no inside information there. But again, appreciate you guys. And when something else pops off here, we're going to get after it. I'm excited about Zack Eflin. I think he's great. Again, see you guys later. Have a great night. Thank you again.